Trying to get comfortable. Hi, Jodie. Thanks for joining. Hi, Ruth. Nice to see you. And I can't see you. You can see me. Hope you're having a good day. Thanks for joining me. Hi, Angie. Thank you for joining me. Hi, Rachel. Thanks for joining again this week. Oh, hi, Kerry. Right back at you. Just going to say, oh, thanks, Amy. Yes, I started at 9 o'clock this morning. No, not really. Okay, I'm just going to wait to see, just wait a few minutes to see how many people we get to listen, because if I'm going to start the story, once I start the story, I can't stop really. I'm not going to backtrack. So once I start, that's it. So just going to see who else is here. Oh, hearts, thank you. Hi, Kay. Nice to see you. Hi, Michelle. Perfect timing. Yes, I haven't started yet. Hello, Debbie. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Val. Oh, hi, gorgeous yourself. Thank you. Oh, yes. Thank you. Got a couple of other scarves to show you tonight too, which Ruth knows all about. But anyway, hello, Julie. Amy. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Okay, Wendy, thanks for joining me. Okay, just going to wait a few minutes just so that I don't have to backtrack once I get started. Hope you've all had a good week. Can't believe it's Thursday already. I say that every week, don't I? Thursday. Gosh, tomorrow's Friday. And what comes after Friday? For me, sailing day. So, yeah, I live for my sailing. Hope you're having a good day. Lots of hearts. I love them. Hi, Cheryl. Yes, I am. Hope you are too. Thank you. Just for your information, just before we get started, I'm just going to let you know that I'm going to do a live session tomorrow night, not tomorrow night, tomorrow morning, just to capture the USA and the UK, etc. So probably around, gosh, I don't know, 11 o'clock New South Wales time. I'm going to do angel card and free and mini readings as well. Hi, Narina. Thanks for joining me. I have to talk soon, hey? Special, very, very special story tonight. It's taken me 12 months to write this story, only because I needed to wait for it to pan out, you know, just to see, you know, yeah, but I'll tell you more as we go on. All right, we're going to get started. What time is it? It's only 2 minutes past 7. Do you mind if we wait a couple more minutes? Just so then I don't have to start again. I hope you're having nice weather wherever you are. It's been a bit like, what do they call it? Balmy weather here. Very still t-shirt and shorts weather. Right, okay. Hi, Janelle. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I like white too. Okay. Janelle, we need to message too about that time, so we'll get onto that. All right, tonight's story is called, there's two people I'm really waiting for to join us tonight, and they are two people. Not doing cards tonight, Annie, sorry. I'm doing cards tomorrow morning at 11 and again on Sunday night, but not tonight. Tonight's a special story. It's going to be my #1 story in my second book, which I'm writing at the moment, and it's all about manifesting. This story is all about the end result of manifesting as well. So, so tonight's there's two people that I'm waiting for to join because they're actually featuring in the story, and Ruth knows them. Ruth's here. She was here, and also Ina Pendit is in Bali, and her business name is now called Hands of Light. So she started a business since this story. She come up with a business name now, Hands of Light, which is beautiful. So hopefully she'll call in during this session tonight to say hi to you all. And there's another lady called Ratna, Jenny, who is going to pop in and say hi as well. Thanks, Wendy. Okay, so this story tonight is called Bless Pray Love. It's a little bit based on the story of Eat, Pray, Love, where Julia Roberts pays a visit to Bali to have some amazing healing, and that's exactly what happened to me 12 months ago. And probably, yeah, and something that saved my life. So, so tonight I'm going to dedicate and acknowledge Ruth Robbins, who's joining us tonight, and Atta in Bali. Also Ina, when she does join us, and Ratna. Keep an eye out for them to pop up on your messages, on the comments tonight. I don't know if you can see comments at your end, and also Ratna's family, who were totally involved in what happened with me, her 2 sons and her mum and her daughter. Okay, and also obviously my mum and dad and my team. So this is a very emotional story. This is a big story for me. Liz, a surprise, Elizabeth. Okay, thought she was otherwise occupied tonight. Thank you for joining. Everybody, thank you for joining. I can't acknowledge any more people now because once I get into this zone, but I will read your comments later and I'll take questions at the end. For those of you that don't know me, I was married for 27 years and I lived in Perth for 20 of those years. Perth was never home to me. I always wanted to live on this side of the coast of Australia. I'm up here in Nelson Bay in Port Stephens, beautiful Port Stephens area at the moment. I'm house sitting until the end of the year in a very beautiful house. Anyway, it was one of my dreams to come up here to New South Wales. It was a dream I had even before I met my husband. And the night that I met my husband, we knew we'd get married, but he said, Marion, don't fall in love with me. I'm moving to Perth next week. And I said, well, how's that going to work? I'm moving to Nelson Bay in Port Stephens. This is important information because it's all part of the story. Okay. The other dream I always had was to work at this level as a psychic medium, at a professional level, and it's going really well. So there's been a dream of mine also, is to live the authentic me, which is one of the messages I want to talk to you about tonight, is about living your authentic you, because for many, many years I didn't, and it caused me great deal of anxiety and depression and 2 suicide attempts and hospital stays and things like that. And it was, for those of you that knew me when I lived in Perth, as I know Renee does, I did go through a really hard time, but it was because I was never true to who I was. I thought that being married, yes, it was great to be married, but my husband and I separated 4 years, nearly 5 years ago, because I didn't want to live in Perth. And after 20 years, I knew. We'd originally gone to Perth for 2 years, he said, and then 5 years, and we were always going to come back here to the East Coast. Then we made it to 10 years, and then we ended up getting to 20 years, and there was no way. It was his dream to stay in Perth. It wasn't mine. But unless we separated, there was no way I was going to be able to realise my dream, which was important to me. And that's something about dreams. When you've got them in yourself, they don't go away. You know, you can compromise and you can pretend that it doesn't matter, that you don't reach your dreams, but for me it actually did. So in 2015, after my husband and I divorced, I moved back to South Australia, which is my hometown, back to Adelaide. I grew up on the Murray River. Mum and Dad always lived on the Murray River at a place called Clayton for 44 years, right on the water. It was beautiful there. When I came back to South Australia, I started caring for my mum and dad, who were both really sick. I cared for them both at the same time. And I never got a chance to grieve my divorce or my life in Perth. I left behind my beautiful girlfriends like Renee and Jane and my friend Mash, and I left behind a good job and my daughter and stuff. It was my choice. It's always been my choice to do that, and I've been managing that. But managing through the grief and the regrets and the sadnesses and all the feelings that come with those kinds of big life moves since. This is all important information and it's all part of the story. So I came back to South Australia. I hadn't actually had contact with my mum and dad for about 7 years, so I'd come back into their life as a bit of a stranger, and mum and dad were dying, and I had to take care of mum and dad, which I did, but I couldn't be. Whenever I drove into their driveway, I was me, but when I got out of the car and went into their house, I was their daughter, and I couldn't be the ex-wife, or I couldn't be the mum anymore. to my kids. It was, and I'm sure a lot of you can understand that with aging parents and that how we adopt. You know, we play roles, and that was hard too, because what I had to do was stuff down my feelings about the divorce and everything like that. And I got really sick. I lost about 10 kilos during that time, and it was hard. Even though it was my choice to come back to Adelaide, it was really, really hard. Nursing my mum and dad together at the same time was extremely hard, as well as a whole lot of other stuff that is just way too personal to even share with you guys tonight. Those of you that know me personally know exactly what I went through at that time and just how horrendous it was, and you know, it just went on and on and on. The trauma that just went. It was just back to back to back to back. Bad news, bad news, bad news, bad news. And it broke me. Absolutely broke me. Now, for those of you that know me on a spiritual level as well, you know that I have a team upstairs. I've got my mum's dad, my dad's dad, my mum's brother, and my guide Mark, and my healer Stephen. So I call them old, you know, they're my old pals. So they've been with me since I was a girl. You know, I don't know how far back I can remember. Maybe when I was in grade 5. I can always just remember talking to them. So for me, it's normal. For me, talking to spirit is as normal as you breathing in and out or blinking your eyes. That's how normal it is for me. That's why I don't think that what I do is special. However, tonight's story is really special, I feel. So what I'm telling you is actually all part of the story. Just get comfortable. Yes, I have got my jammies on. Anyway, so, okay, so bear with me. My mum passed away on my birthday in December a year ago. My dad passed away 3 months before my mum. That was at the end of 2017. That was really hard. Like I said, I had a lot of other trauma in my life as well. And I broke. I'd worn out my team, you know. I'd worn them out. They're amazing, you know, and that's why I try to share my story, is because guides are real. You know, we don't lose people when they pass over. You know, I know my mum and dad instantly came back to me and had at that time, during January, February, March, after they passed away, and April, I had contact with them. Now, you know, I told you that we hadn't seen each other for the 7 years before they passed away, that during that time that I was caring for them, we did all our spiritual lessons. Now, don't forget, I think I've told you before that Mum and Dad and I did Ouija boards for a while. You know, that was how we did our spiritual growth. For us, it was normal. None of their friends would have known that. That was just what we did as a family. So we knew, my mum and dad knew. And my dad, in one way, you know, what's going to happen when I die? And he couldn't wait. You know, he couldn't wait for it to, to find out what it was like to have to pass over, and then, you know, to take it from there and see what was after that. So we used to have long conversations. But to cut a long story short, again, it is a long story. I'm sorry, I have to sit through it. But the biggest lesson in my life has been forgiveness. You may have heard me talk about that before, but I always said, and I've said it to Rini many times, you know, I will never go to my mum and dad's funeral, but I did, and I organised their funerals, and I very proudly stood up and acknowledged my mum and dad out of pure respect for the 7-year gap that we had, which was for our spiritual growth. But we parted on love terms and being reunited on terms of love too. So that's just beautiful. Anyway. On a mental note, as a person, I had to deal with all the things to do with their house, you know, selling the house and packing up everything and moving it. You know, I didn't have a job. I hadn't worked for 3 years. I lost mum and dad within 3 months of each other. Like, that's just too painful to even share with you, let alone everything else that was happening in my life at that time. So I moved out of my home, and at the time I was deciding whether or not to buy a caravan and come over here to the New South Wales coast on my own to finally find out why I had to come here. So but I didn't know what to do. Do I stay in Victor Harbor and live a normal life and buy a house and get a job, or do I run away with my caravan? I didn't actually know what to do. And there's a story on my website, Psychic Like No Other. There's a story under spirituality called Signs. That tells you how the whole thing actually came together in the end, with all the signs that I got that I really should buy the caravan. So in June last year, I went to Bali. I boarded a plane in Adelaide and I was absolutely broken. I was broken. I didn't care if I lived or died, you know, pretty much. I'd lost so much in my life, and it was really, the grief and the sadness was insurmountable. On my way to Bali, I sat in the plane and I just said, right, I'm really going to put this manifesting to a test. I tried to believe in what I was saying and putting out to the universe, but I said to my team, while I'm in Bali, I want you guys to have 2 weeks off, right? Just chill out, whatever. I said, but I'm going to the most spiritual place in the world. If I can get healed anywhere of this broken heart and get it put back together, it'll be in Bali. And so I manifested it, and I just prayed on it all the time, and I just wanted that to really, really come true and experience it. Did I have faith at the time that it was even going to happen? No, but I tried it anyway. So I prayed. Anyway, got to Bali, checked into my hotel, and basically I spent every day crying or writing, journaling, walking the beach, and that was all I did. A dear friend of mine was in Bali at the time. Her name's Ruth. I know she's listening tonight, and I'm ever so grateful that she was there at the same time as me. She was there with her friend Atta, and I got a message from Ruth saying, "Are you okay?" Because she knew what I'd been through, and I just wrote back, "No." And she came, "Where are you?" And I wasn't far from where she was staying, so she came straight round. Her and Atta came round. Atta's Balinese, so yeah, they came round to visit me, which was great. While they were there, I said to them, you know, I said, "Ruth, can you ask Atta?" Or, you know, talk to Atta, and I just said, "Please, I need healing. I need help. Do you know any traditional Balinese healers? I need traditional Balinese healing." And Atta said, "No, I don't know anybody, you know." And, "Oh, you know, okay, that's a shame." So anyway, you know, I wasn't much company, and anyway, they left. Bless them for coming to see me. But the next morning, I got a message from Ruth, and she said, "I need to meet you for coffee." So we met for coffee, and she said, and Atta said that he had a dream that night, and the woman that came into his dream was somebody he knew 4 years ago, and he felt that she'd worked as a healer. So anyway, he rang her, and as it was, she had been practicing as a healer, and she could see me that afternoon. You know, is there a coincidence here? I don't think so. So very kindly, Ruth's driver and Atta's driver, we all piled in the car, and we, I don't know, can't remember how long it was, Ruth, about an hour and a half, I think we had to drive to the other side of Denpasar and to meet Ina. I surrendered. I just went, "Balis, I can't do this life anymore. I need big guns help." You know, and if I've been to Bali many, many times, and I, you know, everywhere you go, there's always ceremonies and temples, and I thought, well, if I'm going to get help anywhere, it's going to be there. So we got to Ina's place, and she must have heard the car, because she came out, and I hope if you see Ina's name tonight and Ratna's name, just keep an eye out for them as if they comment. I know they're both going to be watching. So Ina came out, and I just looked in her eyes, and she looked in mine, and I felt like I'd come home, and I knew that what I'd been praying for to manifest had just been granted. I looked in that woman's eyes, and I knew I'd just met an angel, you know. So she gave me the biggest hug, and we just didn't let go, and I felt my pieces already start to get put back together. Anyway, so she took me in and did a healing, and so she did the tapping first, which was new to me, and you know, that I felt things shift within me then. And then she asked me to lay down, and she did a traditional Balinese healing for me. I don't remember much after that because I actually fell asleep, and I don't remember I was sleeping really bad at that time. I was having broken sleep during the night. I was up 10 times a night. I just never slept. But that sleep on Ina's bed that day, it was just like sleeping like a baby. And so after the healing, there was lots of tears before, but afterwards I really did feel a shift. So we went back out and joined the others, and Ruth went next. We were just talking and had rice tea, and it was really nice. And then we said goodbye. And I really did. I feel different. I did. I did feel different. And even Ruth and Asha said, "Oh, you actually do look different." They could tell that I looked more at peace. So yes, something really did happen with Ina. She really has got a gift, I believe. And as I mentioned, Ina and Ratna, that if anybody is going to Bali and you want to experience these ladies, I will just send me a message and I'll pass you on their details, because they both are now working in this field, which is beautiful. Anyway, so then what happened is I went back, and the following day I went to the other side of the island. Ruth and Asha took me over to the other side of the island, to Lavina, and I was staying in a small complex with 10 bungalows and a pool and just a little cafe, and it was right on the water. It was just divine, but I couldn't find anything really divine about it because the sadness had come back. Even though once I was overwhelmed by the beauty of the place where I was staying, to do it alone after having been with someone all my life was really hard, really hard, and I really did feel lonely. Anyway, I went swimming and walking and did all that sort of stuff, and tried to make the most of the time there, but the sadness really did creep in. It was actually the kind of place, it was so remote that they don't have TVs and they don't have internet. So that's how remote I was where I was staying. But it was perfect for me to be alone with my demons. Anyway, I sent Ina a message and I said, I'm a mess. I was an absolute mess. I was breakdown material, and I plead, I knew, I've got to go back a little bit. Sorry, I've got to go back a little bit. On my first morning breakfast, I went to have breakfast. I totally forgot about this. I forgot about breakfast. So anyway, I'm sitting there having my breakfast, and I looked down at the table downstairs by the pool, and I saw 4 people that I knew. Some people would walk past the table and they went to sit there, and then they didn't, and then they walked away. I saw my mum sitting with her dad, and I saw my dad sitting with his dad at this table of 4 down by the pool in spirit. They had been reunited. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. I forgot to tell you about that. Anyway, so now I'm back on the other side of the island. Sorry to digress, to do that. And I was sitting by the pool on this day, and like on one of those long lounges, and I felt this little girl snuggle up with me. She was about 10 years old. She just snuggled up with me. And her name was Naomi, and she was an angel at the age of 10. And she said, "Why are you so sad?" And she said, "Your heart is so sad. You're too young to be so sad." And I thought, wow, this, and she gave me a spiritual lesson, and she was only 10 years old. I just want to interject here where after I finish my video tonight, I'm going to put the link on Facebook to this story with all the photos and everything I'm talking about. Everyone that's in the photo, everyone that's in my story, the photos are in the story. So if you'd like to check that out, that it'll all make sense with the pictures that I'm trying to paint tonight. Anyway, Naomi, little Naomi, 10-year-old Naomi, her photos in the story, tried to tune me up with her brother. Beautiful spiritual person, little girl she was. So I messaged Ina and I said, Ina, I'm a mess. Do you know anybody in this side of Bali that can help me? That does what you do, that is an angel like you, that is gifted like you. Ina and I communicate on the same level. We got each other. It's just, that's how it was. It was precious. So Ina contacted a lady called Ratna. And if she's on tonight, Ina and Ratna, welcome. And I can't thank you both enough for everything you did for me in Bali. Ratna came to see me straight away on a motorbike, and she said, I had a dream about you. And I said, what? She goes, I had a dream the other night. I know I have to help you. In my dream, you lost 3 people. And I said, yes, I did, my husband and my mum and dad. And I sobbed and sobbed, like gut-wrenching sobs, the kind of sobs you actually don't want to hear. And I said, please, can you help me? You know, I've been asking the universe for help. She said, I can help you. She said, I've been waiting for you. She said, I have the next 5 days free. I will help you. So Ina did, Ratna did the tapping as well, and then she gave me some traditional healing. Now, Ratna is a priestess in Bali, and she's a most beautiful soul. She gave me messages from the Lord, was what Ratna was saying. That's what she was saying, the Lord. She said, Marion, the Lord give me message. We communicated in my broken Indonesian and her broken English, but we connected from the heart. Ratna and I, if Ina was an angel, Ratna is an archangel, you know, and we connected so beautifully. I was totally surrendered. I had totally surrendered, and I was in their hands completely. I couldn't put another step forward in my own physical body. So Ratna said to me, right, for the next, she said, I am going to organise. She said, we will spend the day, I will come tomorrow in the afternoon on sunset. We will sit on the beach together. She said, you have to go in the water somewhere you bathers. She said, I will bring all the offerings. And, first she said, okay, so that was that day. Oh gosh, you know, I've got notes here and I'm not even reading them. Anyway, so the first visit, she did the tapping and some healing. And then she said, I have a message from the Lord for you, Marion. She said, the Lord wants you to come to my house tonight at 5:30 to have a ceremony, a traditional Balinese ceremony in my temple. I'm a priestess. I have a temple in my house. And the photos are in the story for you to look at later. So I said, I can't get to your house. She goes, will you come on my motorbike? And I said, I'm not brave enough to come on your motorbike, sorry. So she said, oh, we'll get a driver. I said, well, the hotel told me that I could only have a driver. I could only organise a driver in the morning. But this was in the afternoon. So anyway, she said, so we went down to the reception and we talked to the hotel staff, and Ratna said, I really need Marion to come to my house. I need a driver. But lo and behold, the driver was standing there, and he's never allowed in the hotel complex. And so she organised for him to take me to her house. And he said, I knew I had to wait here for a reason. I knew something kept me here today, that I had to stay here. He said, I am never, ever here. I can take you. So Ratna went off on her motorbike, and I followed about an hour later, and he took me to Ratna's house some 20 minutes away. When I got there, like, she had the temples out the front, and the incense was on, and she had changed into her beautiful white priestess dress, and the photos are in the story, and you're just going to love them. So she took me into her temple. Now I was a mess, you know, like crying for days. I looked terrible, looked 100 years old. The temple, there's a photo of in there as well. So she said, okay, I'm going to do the ceremony, and she had water. It's traditional water, traditional ceremony. So she had the water, and she did all the. She stood in front of the altar and did all the praying and asking for the help and everything like that. And then she gave me the water, so I had to sip 3 sips, right? And then she poured the water over me, and then we went outside, and I didn't know what to say. I was in her hands. I trusted her totally. Felt like I'd known her all my life. And again, she said, right, she said, Marion, I have messages from the Lord for you. I will help you tomorrow. We will go to 4 temples tomorrow, which was the next day. So we had to drive over 200, nearly, I don't know, gosh, what was it, Ratner? Maybe 180 kilometres in the one day for the whole day. The next day, she said, I'm going to, you know, we're going to do ceremonies at all the temples. She said, we don't take Westerners to the temples. These are our family temples. She said, we will do this for you. She said, I've been told, the Lord has told me to, I must help you. And yeah, so it was amazing for me to just surrender and have this stuff manifested. Please help me, please bring traditional healing. And here it was. I mean, what are the chances? It was fantastic. So the next day, well, where am I up to? So the next day she came and we did I think I'm getting confused. The second day, the day after I met Ratna, she came in the afternoon at the sunset to do a ceremony on the beach to the goddess of the sea. And you know, in Bali where they have all the little baskets with the flowers and the incense and all those sorts of things, well, she brought all those. She was dressed in her traditional white gown again. She's just beautiful. Sat on the beach. The sun was setting. You'll see it in the photos. And it was special. It was really special. And I didn't understand the words she was saying, but it felt amazing. It just felt amazing. And she's doing all her thing and everything. And she said, right, now you have to go for a swim. You know, you have to go under the water because the goddess of the sea will bless you. So I went and did that. And when I came back out, she handed me the flowers, the offering. And she said, I want you to push it off into the sunset. And when I went down to push it off into the sunset, I got overwhelming messages. My mum and dad were there, and they said to me, Marion, we're so sorry. We thought that it's because we were dead we'd be able to help you straight away get over your grief. But because we've been trying so hard, we can see that we've actually made it worse with you. We haven't been able to help you at all. We actually have to say goodbye to you now because we need to go and heal from passing away. We need to go and heal. And you know, how extraordinary is that, you know? And they were right there, and I knew, and I was having a conversation with them, and Ratna was watching me, and they that was really special. So I let the offering go, and I said goodbye to my mum and dad again. But it turned out it was only for a little while because they have been back. Naomi joined us, the little 10-year-old girl. She joined us down on the beach and spent a special time with us as well. That was good. All right, so I slept like a baby that night. You know, I really felt like I was starting to get the healing. I think this story is going to have more impact for you when you actually see the photos rather than listening to me. I can't show you the photos at the same time as telling you the story. But if you'd be kind enough to look at the photos, I'd really love to share this journey with you on that level. I'll try and not take too much longer. The next day, Ratna and her family came to pick me up. Ratna was dressed in white, and so was her husband, and with his thing on his head, and her son and her 2 sons and her daughter. And so we piled into the car, and we went round to Ratna's family home and met her mum and dad and family, and Ratna went and prayed at the temple. Well, Ratna's mum had made the offerings. Now, you know, I was talking about these little offerings before. Well, these are great big offerings, great, you know, like really big offerings. I mean, how do you say thank you to somebody for going out of their way to help me? I was a complete stranger, right? Oh. So anyway, you'll see photos on the story of Ratna's mum, who's half my size, and she actually reminded me of my mum. We held hands most of the time, but she had the basket on her head. You know, she's walking down towards a car, you know, hands-free. Oh my God, I can't even keep a hat on my head. Anyway, she was just beautiful. I knew that I was in good hands. Now, here's the bit about Julia Roberts. This is Narina Wake Up. This is where Narina comes into the story. A few years ago, I can't remember how long ago it was, Narina, 7 or 8 years ago, Narina and I went to Bali, and it was our dream to have a reading, a psychic reading with Ketut Liyer from the movie Eat, Pray, Love. You remember where Julia Roberts goes to Ubud and sits with Ketut Liyer on his veranda? Well, Narina and I have sat there. So this is just a little story about Ketut Liyer. This is the difference. This is how I know that what I was experiencing with Ratna was real, is because the Ketut Liyer experience wasn't. So when we went to them, so I think Narina went first, and I was videoing her. And I was videoing her. And what Ketut Liyer was saying to her, oh my God, you know, it sounded amazing, and you know, just, you know, it was just, oh my God, so special, you know, he's a Balinese, you know, medicine healer man. And anyway, then it was my turn, and Narina was videoing me, and she's looking at me, and the iPad goes down, and she's going, that's the same as mine. What he's saying to you is what he said to me. And then I think it was later, we watched the movie Eat, Pray, Love, and what Ketut Liyer said to Julia Roberts, he also said to me, and he also said to Narina, word for word. And we paid $75 each for that privilege. So he died in 2000, on June the 8th, 2016, at the age of 100. And he's passed those exact words down to his son, who, when Narina and I went back to Bali with Jennifer, the same words were spoken to Jennifer from the son. So, yeah, I just want to tell you that little bit about the Eat, Pray, Love versus Bless, Pray, Love, two different things. That's why I knew Ratna was real. Anyway, so we had to go to the temple. We went to the family temple. So the first thing I had to do was get into the public baths, didn't I? Yes, there are photos in the story. I had to strip off. There are outside the temples, there's all these showers that come out of the spring, come out of the wall from the springs, and they call that holy water. And so anyway, so I had to get all my gear off and wash, you know, just get wet, and then I just put my sarong and stuff back on, and we went into the temple, and there was a priest just there for us, and he performed a ceremony, and I got the rice on the head and the 3 sips of water, and it felt really amazing. The family took it seriously. They take their spirituality really seriously, and I wish we could do that here. Then we went to another temple. I think I might have got this around the wrong way a little bit, but it doesn't matter. Then we went to another temple, and we placed lots of offerings everywhere. And again, Ratna put rice here, and again, the 3 sips of water. Really special. We then went to, that was called the Lebah Temple, L-E-B-A-H, the Lebah Temple. And I prayed, and I said, I'm sorry that I've crossed boundaries here, but I really need help. There were no Westerners anywhere. There were no tourists anywhere. This was just me on my own in their world. It was extraordinary. Then we went on to Pemuteran, is that how you say it? Pemuteran, which were friends of Ratna's, where she does her dancing and her priestess work. And there's a whole lot of temples there. And Ratna and I went from temple to temple to temple before we had the ceremony in the main temple. And during the ceremony, the priest actually presented me with this, which I will wear, which for those of you that have been to Bali, you will know how traditional you'll see the yellow and white and black everywhere. The priest gave me this in honour. It was in recognition of my gift, and he wanted me to use it while I worked, when I did readings. And Ratna said to me, Marion, no Westerner gets a scarf. It's called a selendang. And it's a selendang kuning, which is yellow. So it's a yellow ceremonial scarf that I was presented with, and that I wear when I do readings, phone readings and things like that. So then he gave me a bracelet, which was we made a woven bracelet, which was the Earth, Wind, Fire bracelet, and it would come off, he said, when I was healed, and it actually came off in March. So anyway, 11 sips of water this time, another wash, and then we said goodbye. We then drove 68 kilometres, and we stopped at a little place where we Pulikai Temple, where there's lots of monkeys everywhere, and it's where the Balinese stop on their journeys to have coffee and peanuts and stuff like that. And there were no Westerners around, there were no tourists around, there was just me. Ratner and I, we spent most of the time holding hands and just looking into each other's eyes like we were in love. You know, it was just this amazing spiritual, universal, unconditional love connection that we had. A miracle was happening. I was actually living a miracle. I was feeling better by every moment. I could feel myself healing. We arrived at sunset. We arrived in west of Bali at the Cigar Rupet Temple, which is also known as the Goddess of the Sea. It's the beautiful green temple in the photos, and the temple is stunning. And we went there and we had a ceremony again for ourselves. You know, we had a whole day of ceremonies, traditional Bali ceremonies, and I was the only tourist Westerner anywhere to be seen. It was just extraordinary how I had manifested that I needed help from, you know, really, I needed the big guns to help me, and I got them. When we left at the end of the ceremony, after we did all the blessing and the rice and the water and everything like that, which you'll see the photos of, we said goodbye to the priest and we went out to the car. When we got out to the car, one of the priests was calling Ratner back, trying to get Ratner's attention, said, come back, come back. And he said, you know, the high priest wants you to come back, sit down. So Ratner had no idea what was going on, so we just followed. There was, you know, 6 of us or 7 of us, whatever, there were 7 of us. So we sat down and we waited, and you'll see the photos. Anyway, we saw the priest go into the temple, and he was praying to the Goddess of the Sea, and he was nodding and he was nodding, and he was holding something, and he was nodding, and he was listening. You could see him receiving messages. I mean, this is pure spirituality. This is pure power. It was just awesome to watch. And when he came out, I heard him come out. When he came out, I heard Ratner go, oh, like that. And he presented me with this, which is the green ceremonial scarf from the Goddess of the Sea. And he's apparently, what the story was is he said he came out and he spoke to me in Balinese, which I didn't understand, and Ratner interpreted me with tears rolling down her face, and he said, the Goddess of the Sea acknowledges your gift. You are truly gifted and you are blessed, and you are to wear this scarf when you work. And Ratner said to me, Marion, I'm a priestess. I don't even I'll never get a green scarf. You're a Westerner and you've got the green scarf. You know, like that's just, she said, it's unheard of. She said, it's just acknowledging your gift. You know, I just felt so humbled, and you'll see it in the photos. You know, I was so overwhelmed, you know, and it was like this was the miracle. These are the miracles that I can still wear, that got me through my torment that I was, and I certainly felt a healing. After we left this temple, we went around the back to another temple, had some more ceremonies, and you know, all the photos speak for themselves, and I don't want to bore you too much, but it's certainly. I can't explain it. How do you manifest and ask for something so profound? What are the chances? It'd be like you going to Bali and going, hey, I really want some traditional Balinese healing. Could somebody please take me under their wing? And that's exactly what happened. And it was, did I feel a difference? Yes, I did. I really, really, really did. And all that traditional Balinese music, you know, the bells and the chimes and all the noises that you can hear all the time. You know, like, I was stuffed by that night, but I felt so good. I actually felt like there was hope for me. Yeah. And then the next day, Ratner came to see me again, and then the next day we said goodbye. And I really did feel different. I felt really different, and she acknowledged, she saw that in me too. And then when Ruth and Asha came to pick me up, Ruth said to me too, you know, you look really different, Marion. And I did, and I just got better and better. Now, since then, 12 months later, because it's almost 12 months to the day, since then, what's happened for me? I bought a caravan. 21-foot caravan, and the photo that's in the photos on the story that I'll send the link up, put the link up shortly. And if I hadn't have done that, if I had not have had that healing, there's no way I'd probably be alive today, because I was such a mess. I was the lowest. I'd been to hell and back through that 3 years. I really had. I can't express it enough. And without Ina and Ratner's help, though, and Ruth, everyone, right place, right time, all the angels were in the right place. I'm alive today, you know, and I'm over here in New South Wales living the dream that I never thought I would. Working with my gift like I never thought I would. Sailing twice a week like I never thought I would. Don't ever give up on your dreams. Don't ever give up on your dreams. You know, just really listen to yourself, to your dreams, and manifesting. That was the purest manifest I'd ever had. You know, and it was such an it was a miracle, you know, and it's what gave me the strength to buy that caravan. It's what's given me the strength to be me. So 12 months later, here I am. I wanted to share that story with you because I know a lot of you have dreams and a lot of you try to manifest things for yourself. And I want to inspire you. That's what I want to do. I want to inspire you. I'm no different to you. Well, you know, you've all got the things that you're good at. You know, this is what I'm good at, you know, my psychic gift. But it's also my job as a spiritual teacher, I believe. I've had, you know, like a calling, that to share my gift with you, to help you find your gift and to help you find your path on your spiritual journey. That's my job. I work on a soul level. I can see your soul. I can see your soul's purpose. I can see your soul's lessons. I can see your soul journey. When I give psychic readings, it's not just about information for here in this life. It's also on this much deeper level, on the level that was recognised and acknowledged by the goddess of the sea in Bali and the priests, the high priests in Bali. Ratner told me that there's no other Westerners that she's ever seen in her experience that went through what I went through with all the ceremonies. I hope you enjoy the pictures. I hope you'll look at this. You don't have to read all the story again. There is a lot of text because there's a lot of story, because it's actually it's all been written for the book. But the main thing are the pictures, and you can just quickly look through the pictures. I'll put that up once I finish. So maybe I'll just have a look now and just see if there's any comments. And if not, well, then I'll let you go. I hope you enjoyed my story, and I hope I've inspired some of you. You know, and if anybody's going to Bali and they'd like to experience Ina's hands of light, look, my hands are just tingling, just thinking about Ina and Ratner and their magic, their miracle. They are angels. Magic really does happen in Bali. Miracles do happen there. So if you're going, then I'm happy to give you their details. But you know, there is hope. You know, yes, I still struggle with my feelings and my grief and my sadness, but they're emotions of the mind. You know. So anyway, I'd love to know what you think, or if you have any questions. So I'm just going to have a little scroll down and just see if I can read these without my glasses. So I hope I didn't bore you too much, but I think you'll enjoy the pictures. Hi, Trish. And actually, now that I see Trish, I just want to express something else about this particular story that I've just talked to you about. And I'd like to thank Trish for being her beautiful self last night. And now trust, the word trust starts with the first two letters of trust are TR, first two letters of Trish are TR. Last night, Trish spent some time with me and reminded me that I help all you guys with trust, but sometimes I really do struggle myself. And I do, but I just want to thank Trish to help remind me of that valuable lesson about trust. And that's something about this story with Bali. By preparing this story for you guys today, it's reminded me how much I trusted in somebody I didn't even know. This whole family spent days, gave me days of their life. we're traveling me around Bali for 200 kilometres, you know, and we were like that. I took them out to lunch and we had babi guling and fried rice, and it was lovely, you know. I've made lifelong connections with these beautiful people who knew, Ratna knew by her dream that she dreamt, when she dreamt about me 3 days before, that she was there to help me, and she gave up all her time, you know. She knew what she had to do, and she's got this direct communication with what she calls the Lord, you know. How blessed. That's why I've called my story Bless Pray Love. Okay, I'm just going to read a couple of if there's any questions. Oh yeah, I am a lot stronger now, Ruth. Thank you. But yeah, still have my struggles. But certainly that miracle in Bali was just phenomenal. Excuse me. I'm just going to quickly scroll through just to see if there's any questions that I can answer before we finish. If you've got no questions, you're welcome to go. Thank you for joining me, but I will just see if there's any questions here. And then, oh yes, so they were, Hindu was the ceremony. I forgot to tell you that. Ratna is Hindu. So that's right. Thanks, Ruth. I finish off my live, I will post up, have a look at them, and perhaps just leave me a comment that you had a look at them. That would be really great. I'd love to know what you think. Okay. All right, everybody. Well, tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, New South Wales time, I'll do some angel cards and some mini readings. If you'd like to put questions up, I'll go through them. And I'll just read them, you know, with or without the cards, and see how we go. And again on Sunday night at let's do Sunday afternoon, 5 o'clock, for some more angel cards and mini readings. Would be wonderful. I'd love to spend some time with you then, and just get some. Get some commentary happening on that for you. Anybody who's watched tonight and is interested in a psychic reading with me, for anybody who's watched tonight, I'll give you an extra 30 minutes for every 30-minute reading booked through my website. I'll give you an extra 30 minutes. So you're getting a $90 value for $45. So, you know, I just want to give that to you as well, just to offer it to you. All right, okay, have a lovely couple of days and weekend, and I will see some of you tomorrow, some of you on Sunday, otherwise next week Thursday at 7 p.m. again. Appreciate your time. I'll go down and put the link up now. Bye now.